Vixen Season 2 finale. Now, of course, I am incredibly late with this, but I still have to do it to review the whole series, and it would just be dumb to be like, ah, it's super late, why not? But I do apologize for anyone who's actually interested in checking out these reviews that this is, I don't know, 3 weeks late or something like that. Because by the time I actually saw the episode, they'd already put the whole season together like they did with season 1. So I actually had to skip through to get to the actual final chunk of the season to watch what was basically the last episode. So going through that, I was like, wow, they already did this. I'm definitely late because I don't know what it was with this season. I would just keep forgetting to check it out. I guess when it was new, it was like, I was really on top of it. But this season, I just kept forgetting. I don't know why, but every time I saw it, I was like, oh crap, I gotta watch Vixen because I just keep forgetting that it's even out. But I'm glad I did, of course, get to watch the conclusion of it. I enjoyed it. I thought it visually, of course, looked really well done. I thought the action was good. They basically conclude everything like as I expected. Of course, they just end it all. It's all said and done. But I like the way they did it. I thought it was pretty cool. It starts off with, you know, the ending of the battle and everything. So we have, as she likes to say, at the end of the episode, just call her Vixen, which I thought was kind of cool, actually. So we have Vixen going up against the main villain, whose name is I just never remember it, and plus it was long. So they're going up against each other. We have the random, research guy. I thought it was really funny that he was just poof, here he is now at the end of the episode, or at the end of the season, really. So he shows up and he's running and he ends up finding them at the docks, which was really great. I think that was my favorite use of Vixen's powers that they've had throughout the entire series, because what they did in this was kind of show that the spirit images that we see can actually do certain things, or at least they made it appear that way. Like when she pins him down on the docks and she uses the rhino, and it, she doesn't physically move herself, and I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, so she can actually utilize these visual representations, at least in a small manner, because when it, roars up, it slams down and that breaks it. So I just thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, they've never actually shown it used in that way before. I thought it was very interesting. So I actually really enjoyed that. But I thought it was really cool. She breaks the dock and then they're, underneath, in the water and stuff. I don't know how he was holding his breath that long. It's not like he could, breathe underwater. But, she's doing the octopus stuff and she's beating him up, and then she knocks him out, or seemingly knocks him out for a quick second. So she goes up to give the guy the jewel, and then he bursts out of the water, and he, like I said, him holding his breath, he burst out for half a second. I'd be up there 3 times as long trying to catch my breath, considering how long he was underwater. But he busts up for half a second, and he gets, I guess that was enough air for him to have an entire fight sequence again. So he grabs her, and I love the way she did it. I'm pretty sure that's when she did the electric eel thing. That may have been in the first part, but the electric eel thing I thought was cool because, once again, that was something that we didn't see, where it's okay, this is a creature that, does something specific. If she did a squid, could she, create ink? If she, could she, spit ink out of her mouth or something crazy like that? So it was an ability that I thought, that's interesting because it's so specific to this creature that it, in a sense, gives her lightning powers. Could she use that all the time and electrocute people? I think this basically would half give her lightning powers a little bit, if she always used that. So it just made it interesting because, along with the visual representations actually moving, with the rhino, her having the electrical ability I thought was really cool, and it kind of opened up a world that I never considered, because typically whenever I see Vixen, whether it's in this, when they did her live action in Arrow, or even the old version of Vixen when they had her in the Justice League cartoons, excuse me, it was always pretty simple. It was, here's a bird so she can fly, here's a cheetah so she can run, here's a gorilla for strength, here's a ram so she can just knock someone back, stuff like that. It was always really simple and basic, I need strength, or I need speed, or I need flight. Very simple stuff, and that's why I really loved the ending of this, because she utilized something very different, where it's I need to break free of this guy and not just Hulk out of it or something like that, like a gorilla, but let me electrocute him. Something that's fairly unique to, that's, an electric eel. And I was like, that's really cool. That's something you just don't see very often with her abilities. Probably in the comics, I'm sure, because it's the comic books. But as far as visual, motion media representations, we don't really see that enough. And that's what I loved about this ending sequence. So she takes him down. She literally kills him. Like he's unconscious and he falls to the bottom. So he's just a dead body in the Detroit River, I guess. But she gets up, and so she has to find a way to destroy the stone. And I thought that was a cool ending sequence where she blends, once again, something we hadn't seen before. She basically brings, together all the power of, like, the strongest animal she can think of, and she, like, slams down on it. And I love that it caused, like, a mini seismic wave, and it, like, made some of the trucks and stuff, like, go up in the air for a quick second. And I was like, that was an awesome way to do that. It was a great way to have her, destroy this amazing, I was about to say piece of technology, but this amazing amulet. And it was just interesting. I was like, that's a really cool way to do that. And she has to, bring, collect her strength together from all these different creatures and truly, use all of the power that she can to destroy this immense power and, wipe it from the world. So I thought that was really cool. And then, it kind of just goes on to the ending sequence where she decides to join up with Sarah, Ray, Barry, and Oliver. And that was cool. They go through and I think it was some villain that they've shown before. I can't remember who it was though. But it's just like, alright, they're getting into it and they just have a cool little ending sequence where she's like, she's like, actually just call me Vixen. And she goes off to fight with the team. And I thought that was a cool way to end it. So she's kind of, fully accepted her role as a superhero and stuff like that. And I'm excited to see what they do with Season 3. And I mentioned this really early on, that I was curious what they were going to do, because this takes place before, these first 2 seasons, I assume at least, because they don't really specify with this one. But the first season takes place before, the last season. And I think this one takes place, I would assume this takes place before this season as well, because, of course, Sarah's alive. Or Laurel is alive, I should say. So I thought that was interesting. I'm like, what are they going to do with Season 3? Are they just going to skip ahead? Because a lot of stuff has happened since, before the last seasons of the show. Like, characters have died. Some of them may or may not be coming back based on some of these mid-season finales. And we have the crossover with the aliens, which that's not that big of a deal. But, crossovers and new villains and things like that, I am very curious where they're going to go for Season 3 as far as where it's going to end up in the timeline. Like, will it even be in 2016 still? Because I'm pretty sure this was still 2015 for this entire second season. So, it's just hard to say, like, where in the world, within the timeline, is Vixen going to end up being in Season 3? But no matter what they do, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I would love it if they would just freaking give her a full season where it's, like, 30-minute episodes. Even if it was kind of like this, where it was only 6 episodes, if they were all 30 minutes, that would be phenomenal. And it seems like this would be something worth, putting out. Or maybe it would be really cool if they did something like, now that we have at least the first 2 seasons, it would be great if they did like a cool collective thing where they put both seasons together, because now they have at least close to an hour, adding commercials, you have an hour, worth of content. And that would be awesome. And I feel like that's something that they kind of need to do, because they hardly promote it. Like, I remember when they mentioned Vixen was showing up, I was like, oh, Vixen Season 2 is coming on. That's really cool, because I love the first season. And then I feel like they only did that until the first episode came out, and they only promoted it for like 2 weeks. And then episode 1 came out, and it's like, alright, well, we're done. They may have promoted like a week after, because I think by the time I found out, it was already online. So I think they promoted it up to like the first, maybe the second episode, and then that was it. And I'm like, they should really do something where they show the first season, because they have her, they had her in Arrow last year. It was like, that's really awesome. If you watch Vixen, then you know the relationship that they have with the character and stuff like that. And I thought that was awesome. And now they, of course, at this point, they have a new Vixen with Legends of Tomorrow, and she's in pretty much every episode. So I feel like with what they've done, where we now have the present day Vixen as well as the 1940s version of Vixen with the Legends of Tomorrow, they should really kick it up for Season 3. I don't know if they're going to keep her, the former version of Vixen, who's from Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to keep her on until the next season, or how, how all that's going to play out. But considering her character gets a lot of focus in the series, my guess is that she's going to be in this show as a regular until she's like killed or something. So now that they have like this popularity with the character, I feel they should kind of kick it up a notch. Like make some long, even if they aren't 30 minutes, make some like 15-minute episodes and make the season overall like an hour long or something like that. That would be really great. I would love to see that. I don't know if it'll happen, of course, and not to mention the fact that animation does take a while, so that's another element to it, and that's probably why they do it this way, because DC, they crank out the films. I know they've been working on Justice League Dark, which I don't know if that's even out yet or not, but they tend to crank out the animated movies, so it makes a lot of sense that they'd be like, all right, look, we're only doing this for the the CWC. Let's just throw out 30 minutes for that because we got to do like 8 movies over here. So I kind of understand why it's so short because it's animation on top of them kind of doing something unique with the character where she's not super popular just yet, but they've clearly made some very direct choices with this season of all their shows, like specifically Legends of Tomorrow adding a new version of Vixen. And I feel like they might be leading to something bigger with her character. I don't know if that means we're going to transition into a live-action version of the series, which I kind of doubt. I would love that personally. I would love to see them do another live-action series, especially on a character that isn't very wide-known. But maybe they'll just keep it animated, maybe just expand on the animation. Like I said, make longer seasons instead of just 30-minute seasons. So that's my hope, but either way, I'm going to end up watching season 3, but this was a really good finale. I'm excited to see where they take it now that she's kind of truly come into her own after having lost her sister and having this crazy epic battles, which was like way more intense than the first season where she fought her sister. This was like super insane where it was like, holy crap, this dude could like wipe everything out if he wants to. So the stakes were higher, the drama was definitely more intense. Like he evaporated her sister, who sadly, didn't just randomly, show up like a miracle at the end. She's gone. So they did some intense stuff this season, and I'm excited to see where they take the character in season 3. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this finale. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, at least favorite parts, and if there's anything you want to see from Vixen season 3, I definitely want to know because there's so many elements. There's so many places they could go. They could start introducing other superheroes through her show, even if they keep it as really small things. They add in one character, they could do something really epic. And because a lot of people were hoping for Constantine in this season of Legends of Tomorrow, maybe bring in Constantine for Vixen. I know he's in Justice League Dark, which fortunately, if I remember right, he is being played by the guy who was Constantine in the live action show, which is super awesome. But maybe bring him in Vixen, or bring in another hero that we haven't seen in the CW DC universe, and kind of do it that way and have that character officially introduced, even though it would only be online, which is why I feel like they should kind of do some special stuff. They always got like the iHeartRadio things on. Maybe somewhere in the next couple weeks, just throw out an hour of Vixen, like, hey, here's the first 2 seasons of Vixen. You might watch it, you might not, but here's a special event. The whole, a whole hour of just the animated Vixen, TV show. And I feel like that's perfect. Just do that, do it like the first week of the new year or something. Do it on like a Friday and be like, or maybe not Friday, but do it like a Thursday or something. Be like, hey, here's this show Vixen. You guys may have heard about it, maybe not, but check it out. It's an hour of animation that looks great animation as usual from DC, but maybe they should, just promote it a little bit more. So I hope that's what they do and they kind of kick it up a notch. But I definitely want to know what you guys want to see from Volume 3, or from Season 3, if you want to see them add new characters, or if you're familiar with Vixen, where do you want to see them take her character? Of course, like I said, I also want to know what you guys thought about this finale in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.